Hi everyone. Now we'll talk about custom component in Angular. And first question you can ask there, what are the custom components and what is the purpose behind creating custom component? Even we can make normal components with a single command of Angular CLI. Don't worry, I'll let you know each and everything about this. Then we will make file and folder for custom components. We'll write some code so that we can verify they're working fine or not. And then we'll see how we can make template files and import these template files within the custom component, and at last we'll discuss some important interview questions for Angular. Okay, so now let's move on. First question, what is custom components? See, custom components are the components which we create manually without Angular CLI commands. Now the question is, then what is the benefit of it? See, in the custom component you can remove extra things, like if you don't need CSS file, if you don't need HTML file, then you can just remove them and you can write the CSS and HTML inside the TS file only. How? I'll let you know. But there is a disadvantage also. They are time consuming thing. When you make components with a terminal, it will just hardly take 2 to 3 seconds to create, but it will take some time, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, according to the uses and whatever you want to write inside the component. All right. But now let's see how we can make this custom component. So in last part, we created the two components, sign up and login. And similarly, I'm creating one more component without terminal now. So I'll create folder manually there. And let's say component name is profile, right? And inside this, I have to create one file, profile.component.ts, right? And keep in mind, whenever we are making component in Angular, the first letter should be in small case, and in case of React.js we keep first letter capital, right? Even if you want, you can make it smaller also, but for the standard coding standard in Angular we make first letter smaller, and in React we make first letter capital for components. So first of all, we have to export the class. So I'm just putting that export keyword. Then class you have to create, and let's say my class name is class component. Even if you want, you can put any other name to this class also, but usually we put the component name like profile and then component word. And after that, what you need to do, you have to import the component feature from Angular. So let me import component from Angular core, and there you have to use decorator. Now maybe you can ask one question, what is this @? So we basically call it decorator, and we'll talk about more about decorator in the upcoming part. So now just you can say that this is something which is important to create the component. So let me put their component, and the component will be used as a function, you can say that, and inside we have to pass the curly braces or object. And then at least we have to use two things inside this component. Even if you check the previous component which is created with the terminal, you'll see they have 5 things, but at least 2 things are required. Otherwise import and style you can ignore for a moment if you want to ignore. So what I'm doing there, I will just put their selector. Selector is, you can say that, something which use your component in HTML file. So there simply use single or double quotes and then put their app, then profile. You can put any name to the selector. If you just put profile, this will still work fine, but commonly we put their app then hyphen profile. So we can use this. Even in login we are using the same pattern there. After that, the second thing is we have to put their template. So there are 2 things. First one is template URL, second one is template. So for what is template? In the template you can directly write your HTML. You don't need to provide the extra file name. So I'll just put there, for example, h1 tag, closing it, and there I'm putting profile component, and now this is ready for use. So where you want to use, so let's say I want to use it inside the app.component.html, right? So right now you can see that we have, okay, let me see what is that. This is one of the previous errors. So let me close the terminal and run it again. Yeah, so this is perfectly working fine. There is no error at all. So if I want to use their profile, then just use the selector name there, and I'll see we are getting another error. And the reason behind this is we have to import this component inside the component.ts file also. So let me import it, profile component, and there we go. Now we got the profile there. All right. So let me go back there, and if you just make any change, let's say profile only, just removing the component, still this is working fine. Okay, the next thing is you can also use their style attribute. So inside the style you can just use another file also, but for that you have to put the style URL like this. But if you just want to write style there only, then you can just use the double quotes and put there, let's say for h1 tag I'm putting their color is red, and yeah, and there we have to use styles, not style, and now you can see that we are getting it in a red color. So if I just making it green, we are getting in the green, perfectly working fine. So this is the way that how you can create a component with a single file. But let's say you want to define different files for HTML and all. So let me just make a profile dot component.html, and there I'm putting their profile component heading tag, right? And now we have to use this file inside the TS file. So you can just comment out this one, or you can remove, both will work, and put their URL, and inside the URL give the relative URL there. So relative URL will be profile dot component dot html. You can make comma at last, and you can see that we are getting this perfectly fine. So similarly, let's say you want to create a CSS file also. So let me create a CSS file now, component dot css, and inside this I'll write h1 tag, and let me give some style there. Let's say color, we don't need this color, let's say orange. Then padding, you can say that 10 pixel. After that border 1 pixel, solid and orange, right? And now inside the TS file you can use style URL, and then you can again put the relative URL, profile dot component dot css, and perfectly working fine. So now if you want to reuse it, you can reuse. Here you can see that, right? Okay, so there is a one thing that can be asked in interviews. So let's say if I just make it profile, will it work? Yes, this will definitely work if you will change there also like this, and here is the output, you can see that. But now, so let's say I'm just changing it with the core HTML tag name, let's say div, then, and if I'm just using div, then what will happen? Then this component will override the, you can say that your HTML component, and you will still get the same thing, right? So that's why you should be careful whenever you are using selector name. So don't use their normal names. Better you can use app than your component name. That's why we are mostly using app. So now simply you can just undo, and this is still working fine, right? So that's all for this part. If you still have any doubt, confusion, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this part. Thanks guys.